This beautiful tune is, of course, Sandwood Down to Kyle, John Renbourn's arrangement of a tune written by Dave Goulder. And I don't know that much about Dave, but I play a lot of Renbourn tunes, and this was on his album Ship of Fools, which had a lot of other instruments and stuff. It was a band he had together at the time. I think it was 1977. I'll look that up and put that in the notes, but around there. And it's in DADGAD tuning. This is John's arrangement. I have a feeling John came up with this part. That whole little interlude, which is really just the introduction. There are, of course, vocals over all of this stuff. Anyway, so there are many 5 or 6 verses to this. John sings over that whole part. I'm not going to go into singing this, at least not yet, because it's complicated enough on the guitar. And so I'm really just kind of putting this up as something that I know a lot of people would like to work on and learn a little bit more about DADGAD tuning and some of the main licks. Now, it's mostly in the key of D minor, so we hear more minor chords. We never actually hear a D minor chord, but the D always comes back to just a D5, just essentially a power chord. It's fast. Gotta warn you about that. Well, you just saw me play it, so it's like you know how fast it goes. Opens up with this really interesting reverse bend, releasing what do we got here? A, D, from F down to E is what's happening there. The bend that we're having there. Had to focus back in on the tuning in a minute. Anyway. So I will break the whole thing down, and I have this. If you've seen any other tablature to this, many of it is like 6, 7, 8 pages long, because John does a lot of improvising in here. Usually he'll open up this song with noodling around. Frequently keeping the top 2 strings open and just improvising in a couple of different modes depending on how he's feeling at the time, on mostly the 3rd and 4th strings, and sometimes in pairs. Anyway, I'm not going to go into any of the improvising parts of this or the instrumental parts that happen in there. I've reduced it to just 1 page of tablature, everything you just heard me play there at the beginning. So that's what we'll be breaking down in this lesson, is keeping it kind of short and sweet and giving you something pretty challenging to work on in DADGAD.